what do you like about your work?
What I love about my work, not like, love about my work, is taking a voice, which is like when you get a diamond, it's first we've got to get it out of dirt.
Yes.
And then it's opaque. But then you get then with work, each facet is revealed. And this is what I love about working with singers. I love giving people their voice. I love people understanding that their voice is stronger and more powerful than even they can imagine.
Right.
I love the purity of their tone coming through. I love the fact that when they do hear their voices, sometimes they're so shocked because they might think their voice is quite small, and then they find their voice is quite big.
Yeah.
I love the confidence it gives people. I love the self-esteem it gives people. I love the journey with them. And the journey's not always easy because sometimes we both have to work so hard. I have to work hard, but they have to work hard as well. So I love the journey that we go on together, and I love the different stages we reach. And you know, the moment I can turn around and say to them, right, come on, we need to do an exam, or come on, I want you to do a performance. And they go, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And, you know, watching, even if somebody doesn't want to perform on their own, watching them join a choir, that might not seem a big thing. But if somebody has come to you having believed they can't sing, and then suddenly they join a choir. I've had several people come to me who were told as small children they couldn't sing. Now, this has made me so steaming mad. You have no idea how steaming mad that made me, because I won't have that. I believe that the majority of people can sing, you know, but you just have to be taught how to sing. Some people, they will have a more intuitive instrument. It'll be there. With other people, they'll have to work harder. But the majority of people can sing, and when they release when you hear their voices release, I cannot tell you the excitement and the absolute joy that I feel watching them as they do that in shock at the sound that comes out their mouths. So that's what I love about my job. I love the journey. I love the journey with them. From the moment we start, and it can be very difficult. I mean, I've had people come to me with an octave range, no more than an octave, if that. I've got one student in mind in particular. When she came to me, and I played, and I just thought, oh, what are we going to do? Oh, and I thought, well, never mind. Let's keep going. Let's go. She's now singing top A flats without any problem. You know, top A flats without any problem. And I mean, she came to me. I've got to look at my piano as I'm doing this, which is in front of me. She came to me and she started on a G below middle C, and she couldn't go above a G above middle C. So she's actually gone up an extra octave.
Wow.
And her excitement and her confidence. And the great thing about that is she is now doing individual jazz gigs, which she arranges with her jazz friends. She gets up every 2 months and does an individual jazz gig, which she puts on, but then she also goes and she's being asked to do other bits and pieces of other people now. So so that is what excites me, you know, watching that.
That's incredible.
It is, isn't it? It is incredible, isn't it? And that's what I love. That's what I love about my job. And sometimes it can be a little bit heartbreaking as well, because obviously if people have been told they can't do something, or if people don't feel they can do something, you have to build them up, and that can take a little bit of time. And there's a heartbreak to that, because in being told someone can't do something time and time again, that is inside their psyche. So so it takes time to remove that. But really the heartbreak is because somebody has diminished them. And I can't bear that. So when they begin to believe in themselves and their voice, then that is magic.
Absolutely.
That's magic.
And real magic. You can see it happening in front of you.
Exactly. Exactly. And with my kids, oh my gosh, I love teaching my kids. I teach across the range. I teach from 6 to, my oldest student's 88. My oldest student is 88 and has Parkinson's.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see him, so I'm absolutely gutted.
Yes, of course.
But he has Parkinson's. And for me, with him, there was an occasion when I turned up and his wife said to me, he's really bad. He's really bad. And I said, oh, okay. I said, would you want me to try? So she said yes. And I started to begin to work with him. And with the Parkinson's, it affects breathing. So,
yes.
I turned around and I said, come on. I said, can you just do a little bit of singing for me? I can't do it. I can't. And he was curled up in a ball. I can't tell you. He was curled up in a ball. And I said, look, just one line. Just do one line for me. You know, and it took me, I would say, a good 10 minutes for him to get that one line out of him. But we got the one line out. And I said, just 2 lines, come on. I said, and I always say to him, because obviously he has to lie flat because he's got Parkinson's. Yeah. And so I always turn around and say to him, and I said, if you don't do this, I'm going to give you the biggest hug ever. See, I'm a big girl. So, you know, and his eyes always go like this, you see. So he gets out the second line and the third line. And within that hour, he was back to singing like we normally sing.
Wow.
But the big thing was his body had totally uncurled.
Yeah.
He stopped being in the fetal position.
Yeah.
And there was a ruddiness to his face, whereas before it had been sallow.
Right, right.
So this, I cannot express the level of, you see, I know that's not much to most people, and I get that. But for me, and I know that it's not being a doctor or nurse or anything special like that, but for him to be able to, I know it sounds funny, but come back.
Yes, yeah.
Is just magic. It's beyond magic. It's wondrous.
Yeah.
And then my little ones, oh gosh, you see, I love working with children. Number one, because that they just make me laugh. And number two, because I'm stretched to the I have to be everything from a superhero to there are times I have to get up and, oh my gosh, or I have to turn around and say to them, now your voice, I want you to imagine that, you know those rays that you get when you see with the gun ray? You know, when the superhero, so I have to say, your voice has to be the gun ray. And I have to come up with so many ideas and so many different things, especially with younger boys. Yes. Because obviously, you know, younger boys can be a bit like, I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be there. So I turn up with Pikachus. Oh my gosh. You know, so everything.
So how did you get started? Which is my second question. So how did, I mean, you got, it's wonderful you talk about what you love about your work, but how did you get started?
I had singing lessons myself for many years, and then after about 11 years, I realised that it wasn't working properly, and it caused me great distress, because there'd be days when it was right, and there would be days when it would be just so wrong, and there was no consistency.
Right.
And that was very worrying. And I then, the teacher I had, he moved away. And this gave me an opportunity to reflect. And I went to another teacher. No, I didn't for a long time, actually. But I decided that the problems I was having, I had to resolve them.
Right, right.
So the only way you can resolve a problem is to know what the problem is.
Yeah.
So I decided that what I would do is I would start reading. So I read everything I could on the anatomy and physiology of the singing voice, not the voice, the singing voice, the anatomy and physiology of the singing voice. I began to watch the greats, because we had videos were then out. So I began to watch the great singers. I began to watch their mouth positions, their tongue positions. I began to watch how their bodies worked. I continued reading. I read lots of things that were rubbish, and I read some things that weren't. But in between all that, I began to realize that there was a technique. It is a skill. And so I was desperate to have that knowledge and to have developed those skills. I took my music degree late. Now, the other thing I'm really interested in music and the mind. So and I actually started off with the intention of becoming a music therapist. So I did my music degree with a section of it as a music therapist attached, because I truly believe that music is very, very powerful, and the way it can affect your mind. But I just continued working. I did my music degree, and I then did a lot more work on the anatomy, the physiology of the voice. I went to workshop after workshop after workshop. I went to masterclass after masterclass after masterclass. I spent a fortune. To be perfectly frank, I spent an absolute fortune, because I needed to know what to do. So having done that, I then went on and I began to teach. Once I'd got my qualifications, I began to teach. And it was a slow process, because I think when you start teaching the voice, you're learning so much yourself. You have basics, but there is no one student who is the same as the other.
Right.
And teaching students to teach it is about knowing the anatomy and the physiology of the voice, how everything interacts. It is knowing about the breathing, the position of the tongue, the jaw, the soft palate. All those things are very, very important. The application of all that is important, but it's also important to know how to communicate those things to your student.
Yes.
And each student will take in information differently. And you have to be willing to learn not only about the anatomy and the physiology, all the different things that the physiology of the voice does as a singer, but you also need to know how to communicate that. And so that takes time, because you have to be willing to listen, not only to what you're hearing, but to what you're not hearing.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's how I started. I started because my own voice was not destroyed. Destroyed is too strong a word, but it was damaged by. Sorry?
Restricted, maybe.
Yes, it was. It was extremely restricted by the teaching I was having, and I wasn't making the progress I needed to make. So I could continue on the path I was, which was to keep on going to teacher after teacher, or I could actually do something about it myself. Now, eventually, I did find the most amazing teacher. And because I had taken the time to learn about how the vocal instrument worked, when she began talking to me, of course, I could gain so much more from it. And also, she always spoke to me using the correct terminology.
Yes. Yeah.
And that made a huge difference. And I make a point of speaking to my students, even if they're 6, using the correct terminology. So if I'm referring to the lower abdomen, I say the lower abdomen. You know, I will, with the 6-year-old, turn around and say, put your finger where your belly button is, and then it's the bit further down. That's the lower abdomen. So I will say it that way, because obviously a lower abdomen's a big sort of phrase for a 6-year-old. But I think it's important to use the correct terminology for your skill set.
Yes.
You know, you wouldn't go into, you wouldn't say to a doctor, oh, well, that bit just near the heart.
Yeah. You wouldn't at all, no.
You wouldn't do that. So it's a skill, and there's correct terminology that goes with it. So that's why really I became almost slightly obsessional with teaching correctly, because, and as I said, there was no malice in the people who taught me, and I understand that, but they didn't totally understand my instrument.
Yes.
My voice is an instrument. And therefore they couldn't give me the information and impart to me the skills that I needed to make the progress I needed. And it's interesting that, having gone away and found out that information, I managed to correct a great deal of that myself. And then with the assistance of an exceptional teacher.
Mm.
She was exceptional.
Mm.
We managed to correct virtually all of the problems that I had.
Wow.
And the other thing I learned, and this is very important, the other thing that during the course of learning how to teach is that singing is not just a physical thing. It's an emotional, mental, and spiritual thing.
Yeah.
And those things also need to be looked at in the context of teaching somebody.
Yeah.
Because if somebody is distressed, then it will affect their voices.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Unfortunately, a voice is not something like a violin, which is separate from us. We can't take out our voice box and go, I'll put that back in tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how really, because I found myself in a situation where my voice was not developing the way it should.
Wonderful, wonderful. I can really, your answer to what you love about the work, and also the journey that you've taken in terms of, from getting started and being led by your own curiosity, your own desire to, get better, but also your own question that there was something more that you could do or find, is a wonderful, wonderful pair of answers. And to finish the set, together, that, and that's why these are my favourite questions to ask. And to finish the set, with all that understanding, think about the advice that you might give to somebody who's starting out today. What would you say to that?
The first thing I say is, just because someone says they're good, or just because they charge a lot of money, does not mean that they are. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is, learn your instrument. If you pick up a violin, you don't just begin, well, you do just begin doing this, but you do it in a measured way. If you start the piano, you don't start off being able to play Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata.
No.
You're taught, and it's an instrument. You're taught which are the black keys, which are the white keys. You're taught how to use the pedals. You're taught how each things work. Therefore, your voice is an instrument, and you have to have respect for it. And for me to have respect for it is to know how it functions. So the first thing you do is you get yourself on a physiology and anatomy of the voice course. And there's an incredible group of people called the Voice Workshop who will provide this. And I would say to everybody, if you can't find someone like the Voice Workshop, just make sure you find a course. If you don't know how it all works, how can you teach anybody else? That's the first thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is watch. Watch great singers. Listen to people who actually know what they're doing. Not people who say they know what they're doing. Lots of people say they know what they're doing. But the people who truly know what they're doing actually rarely have to say it.
They're doing it.
Because they're doing it.
Yeah.
They rarely have to do it. Never go to a singing teacher unless you've been to see their students sing. Right. Don't even consider it. If someone turns around and says, this is the greatest teacher in the world, oh, yeah. So I would say, I'm so pleased. And where is their next student performing? Yes. Yeah. Because, and don't go to one, go to a minimum of 3 performances. If all 3 students sound good chance you'll sound good. Good chance what you'll gain from that teacher will be something that's good. Okay, so that's another thing. So anatomy and physiology, and then this is going to sound a really funny thing to say, get out of your own ego. All right, teaching is not about you. It is about the student. It's you wanting them to be the best that they can be, not you wanting you to be the best that you can. You want to be the best that you can be as a teacher, obviously. But what you really want is, as a teacher, to be the best teacher so that they can be the best performer. So it isn't about your voice and about you showing off your voice. It's about you helping them to show off their voice.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So that's another thing I would say. And that's difficult because if you're a singer and you're a performer,
Yeah.
you can't help it. You want to show off, but it's
Yeah.
not about you.
No.
It's about them. So that's another thing. Please don't go on a master's. I mean, to do your exams, get a degree in it, or at least educate yourself to degree standard.
Yeah.
Get yourself onto a master's course, and preferably get yourself onto a vocal pedagogy course. Now, there's very few in this country. In fact, there's only 2 that I'm aware of. And one of them is run, as I said, by the Voice Workshop. The other one I can't remember. But what you want to do, if you really want to do this seriously, is go get a degree in vocal pedagogy. And also the other thing as well is if you're already at university, or even if you're not, there is a wonderful resource called Google Scholar.
Okay.
I cannot tell you how many articles you can access about the voice, about how it works, about the function of it, about, I mean, there's some things that are beyond my ken. And one of them is put together by a guy called Ken Bozeman, and it's all about, I can't even remember what it's all about because it's also complicated. It's what is it about? It's about the, oh my gosh, I got to come back to that. But when you produce the sound,
yes,
it's about the sound waves, you know, and how this, you know, there is so much information out there if you are willing to take the time to learn. So just use Google Scholar. If you're already at university or have a mate who's at university, this is a bit naughty to tell you, there's there's numerous. So if you just go into Google Scholar and put the singing voice, or put singing voice, physiology and anatomy, you will get so much information.
Yeah.
All right. And the other thing is trust, trust your instincts.
Yes.
If you're being taught by somebody who is like, and it doesn't feel right, nod your head politely, smile, and go and find somebody who knows what they're talking about. There's no need to be rude. Nod your head politely, smile, and go and find somebody who knows what they're talking about. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. If someone says, "Oh, it should hurt," No. Singing, there should be, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be effort, but there should never be pain. Ever.
Yes.
So when someone starts telling you that rubbish, you smile and you walk out that door. I don't care if they're charging £120 an hour and they have the name of I don't know who. Out the door you go. So those are the things, it's about knowledge. You need to gain knowledge. You need to be willing and open to information. And you need to put your student before yourself. So those are the things I would advise.
Wonderful.
I hope that's okay.